Episode 7 of HBO's 30 Coins was titled The Glass Box. Angel arrives in Pedraza with a sinister plan and enlists Mercedes to do his bidding. As an ominous fog fills the street, the townspeople grow increasingly restless. Meanwhile, Laguna finds himself at odds with the federal agents. Paco falls mysteriously ill, and Elena and Father Vergara rush to get home before it's too late. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episode of HBO's 30 Coins. We're talking episode 7, which means we have one episode left, and this episode was titled The Glass Box, and I'm really interested to let you all know what I thought about this 7th episode of this season. But before we dive into the spoiler review, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. It would mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this review. It really helps out the channel, but also appreciate all the support. And in the comments, let's discuss this 7th episode. Let me know your pros, let me know your cons, let me know your theories for the season finale next week, and let's have a discussion about it in the comments below. So, let's just jump right into it. Before I get into my recap, just my initial thoughts. If you all have been watching my reviews every single week, you know how much I love this show, especially up into episode 4, which was like the first half of the season. Episode 5, Episode 6, and Episode 7 have really kind of went down in quality for me, and I think this particular episode is the worst episode of the entire season. I don't know why the show is deciding to go this direction in regards to focusing more on Paco and Mercedes' relationship. I don't know what to think of Antonio, Angel as a new priest. The townspeople just seem to be the most dumb-witted community that I've seen in a long time, and it's not the acting that I'm at fault here. It's the script. It's the decision of going the way that they're going. I feel like ever since episode 4, as I had mentioned last week, once Elena went her own way, Paco went his own way, and Father Vergara went their own way, that's when the season just kind of went like all over the place, because I don't think those 3 individual characters, great characters I really enjoyed, especially in the first half of the season, but I don't think those characters can withhold their own plot lines and withhold their own kind of uphold, I should say, their own subplots. I think it's not enough richness, it's not enough detail, it's not enough character development in regards to the stuff that they're surrounding themselves with. So this episode, The Glass Box, was easily the worst episode in my personal opinion. Again, I do these reviews to talk and interact with you all, so if you totally disagree with me, that is perfectly fine. Let me know your pros. What did you love about this episode that really got you excited? And if you are kind of like me, I feel like this last 3 episodes have definitely been the worst compared to the first 4. Let's just have a discussion about it in the comments below. So there's really not a lot to recap because there really wasn't a lot going on in this episode. And for being honest, it was really slow paced. It was really kind of all over the place in regards to this fog and the witch and the angel, or I should say Father Angel. Father Vergara, I am so glad that he is no longer in that town being held captive, because that was some of the worst character stuff that we've gotten in the show. But let's just go ahead and attempt to kind of break down what we got in this episode in regards to the recap here. So it does open up with Father Vergara. He's having a conversation with the kid that passed away when he performed the exorcism, that the coin came out of his arm. He suggests to Father Vergara to have faith, to continue to move forward, and kind of gives him a pep talk of some sorts. We kind of move forward. We meet the angel priest. Again, we've seen this guy since episode 4. He's welcomed into the new town by Mercedes, and he lets her know that you can come to me and talk to me about anything. And I don't know if that is, again, they've obviously used Mercedes in regards to, if you guys remember the double, or I should say the episode where we got the mirror, the mirror version of Father Vergara. I mentioned in that review that he leaves something of him inside of her, that he kind of still corrupt her mind, because if you guys remember, he like rubbed her face, and I don't know if that was just like he was still kind of influencing her. I'm really not too sure. I think that is the case, but nevertheless, we see that Father Angel has kind of embraced her as kind of doing her bidding, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But honestly, the first 10 to 15 minutes, we see a bunch of just kind of stuff that didn't really matter to me. We see the priest eating this goo that he's going to put around the town, or he has Antonio put around the town to keep the people boxed in. We see the police women continue to press the sergeant. Paco arrives to Roque's funeral, hoping to find Elena, which we'll get to Elena, who doesn't appear in this episode until 41 minutes in, which is another thing because she's my favorite character, and this show is at its best when she's involved, especially when she's with Paco and Father Vergara. Again, when they're split individually, I just don't find their characters to be that interesting by themselves. We go to this. This is one of many scenes that I found to be very laughable in regards to the execution just being very poorly put together. We see this rescue mission with Father Vergara and the two other people that were about to be executed. The guy tells them to run to the car. They can't open the door. It was just very weird the way that was chopped and edited, and it was just like they can't open the door, and he was able to figure it out. And then they were in plain sight. I don't know why they didn't like slowly walk up to the car, kind of sneak to the car, but they just like run out in the open. And then there's like a shot of a ton of guards, but then there's only one guard that sees them. Again, the whole execution of this scene, I don't mean to nitpick, but it was just like, it stuck out like a sore thumb, especially when you compare this episode to the previous, like I said, 4 episodes, the first half of the season, which was so well executed, was so well paced, but scenes like this to me was just very laughable. Only part that I liked about that scene is when Father Vergara like breaks the knife, which I don't know how he was able to break the knife after his hands were cut, which was foreshadowing the conversation that he had with the kid earlier in the episode, but he stabs the guy. But I thought that was like, did that make a lot of sense that he was able to break the knife and stab the guy? Either way, that was the best part of that particular scene, and it kind of symbolizes again, he was going to be executed with 3 other people, very symbolizing the death of Christ and the hands. He added the holes in his hands, so there's some symbolism going on there. Yet again, this was when this show has went this direction of focusing on Mercedes, and it's nothing against the actress. I said last week that I just personally didn't care about Paco and Mercedes' relationship. I found their relationship to be forced. If I was the writer, I would have had Paco and his wife Mercedes. At the beginning of the show, they're married, but they're not together. They're just putting on a facade. They're just putting on because Paco's the mayor, and they have to show that everything's happy. But I wish they would have already been broken up, like separated at the beginning of the show versus us just slowly seeing this kind of take place. Because, again, the human dramatic element between Paco and Mercedes, I do not care about that plot at all. It's completely unnecessary, in my opinion. We see them signing the divorce papers. We see Antonio following the priest as he exchanges this bag of dirt and maggots inside of it, which we ultimately know. I don't know what the dirt and the maggots mean. Obviously, it caused the town to have all the mysterious, the fog that was, cool looking, but it just was just kind of underwhelming in my opinion. We cut back to Mercedes confessing to the Father Angel. He gives her a card to put in Paco's shirt to get him ill. Again, they don't really explain the significance of that card. I don't remember if that card was in the tarot episode with the flashback that we got with Father Vergara. But nonetheless, again, this is 2 examples of the show, just like last week with the dream world. They don't really elaborate on the mystical and the supernatural and the witch elements in the second half of this season versus the first half. Really kind of detail what was going on. We get into this whole situation where we see the witch pouring the dirt and the maggots into the sewers, and we see that goo is going to keep the people from escaping the town, hence the title of this episode being called Glass Box. Paco now has the card in his chest or in his coat pocket. He's trying to talk to the townspeople to say, hey, I've been lying to you all the whole time. And the town knows that there's obviously something going on. There's people dying left and right, but he's in pain. Mercedes comforts him. We see the priest comes in and kind of convinces the people of town that, oh, no, it's all make-believe. Everything's fine. There's a reason behind all this. And again, the townspeople just, okay, sure. They're just like, I don't know, very, townspeople just don't have that much going on upstairs in regards to the writing department. We see that the people in town are trapped in. Paco is in his deathbed, and they have this scene where Mercedes kisses him and rolls her eyes. Again, the scene was just, all of this stuff was just boring to me. Elena, my favorite character, finally appears with 41 minutes into the episode. The fog's still going on in the middle of the day. There's dead pigs' heads all over the place. Easily, again, the confusion going on in this episode is easily the worst episode of the entire season. Father Vergara finally appears in the town. We cut to the people in town being locked into a church. We see the church catch on fire. We end this episode with Elena getting beat up by Mercedes, and at this point she has like super strength. Again, I believe either Angel gifted her these powers. She had the coin in her possession, so we all know when you have this coin in your possession, you somewhat get like supernatural powers, even though Roque and Elena have had the coin in their hand, but they weren't able to possess any of these powers. But again, I think Mercedes was already under some type of spell or hex or influence by the Angel or the mirror, Father Vergara. Nonetheless, she beats her up. She gives the coin to Angel. We see Father Vergara go back to the church. That was a pretty cool scene, him walking through the fire in his church. He goes into his war room, gears up, and he's like dressed like Rambo, ready to go to war. I don't know what Father Vergara is going to be able to do to the devil Angel, because I mean, literally, this whole second half of this episode, Father Vergara has been captured by mortals, by human beings, and he's going to take on the devil. Okay, I guess we'll see how that plays out. Again, Father Vergara was such a badass in the first 4 episodes, but these last 3 episodes, or say these last 4 episodes, he's just been kind of very underwhelming and just been captured easily and just weak-minded. I know this whole back half of this show is supposed to focus on him not having faith and losing his faith, but now he seems to have it back again. Listen, if you all watched my first 4 episodes of this show, I loved the first 4 episodes. I couldn't stop talking about how great the characters were, the story, the creepiness, the scares, the terror, the visual effects, the designs. All this stuff was working for me. But like I said, once we go to episode 5, once everyone ventures off and does their own subplots, we get more of Antonio, who's just a silly character to me at this point. Just kind of pops in and out, and just, is he good? Is he bad? I can care less about Antonio. Mercedes and Paco relationship is boring and so unnecessary in my opinion. Then Elena has just really took a step back. That was my favorite character, but they just have relegated her to, okay, my husband's back, let me sleep with him. Okay, he's dead now, let me sleep with Roque. And they just been focusing her on, like, she's on this like self-discovery journey, but the journey has been very underwhelming. It has been poorly written in my opinion. And then it's just like there's no scares anymore. There's no, we got the fog and we got the witch lady who they haven't really explained her significance of the coin. Why does she want the people to have the coin and Fabio to have the coin? They haven't explained that. It just, again, it might sound like nitpicking, but again, I was in love with this show for the first 4 episodes. The first half of the season was incredible writing to me and just really entertaining, but I have been extremely disappointed by the second half, especially with this episode. Fingers crossed that the finale is 10 times better. It wraps up really well. It gives us some good moments, but episode 7 was the worst in my opinion. But again, it's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on episode 7, The Glass Box, your pros, your cons, and your theories for what you hope to see in the finale. I still love this show, guys. It's just I have been disappointed by these last few episodes, but I'm hoping that the finale sticks to landing. But again, thank you all for watching this review. Hope you are staying safe. Make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the bell. That way you can get the alert from when I drop new content. Thank you guys again for watching the video, and we'll see you next week for the season finale.